me sing. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born.
Hello everyone, I'm John.
I'm Joe.
And you're watching the John and Joe Sports Show, simulcasting live on the Royal Television Network and on 99.5 WUSR Scranton, the University of Scranton's radio station. Quite a great opening song, I'd say.
Oh, definitely.
One of our better ones in all of our shows. I think we might have to keep that.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Because we tell sports. Unfortunately, there aren't any mountains. Maybe we can get a backdrop on a green screen of mountains.
That would be perfect.
And
yeah.
it'll be a little bit more interesting of a program for all of you. But we're happy to be on the radio. 2 hours.
Woo,
Finally, we'll have listeners, 2 or 3,
yeah.
maybe 5.
It's exciting.
And 1 viewer. We
Yeah.
might break 10 today. So tell all your friends and family members to tune in now. We'll give you a second. Okay.
There we go.
If you want to shoot us a text at any point during the show with questions, comments, complaints, concerns, or any other of those types of words, 570-212-9877. That's 212-WUSR, and we'll be happy to address your issues or questions on air. And we look forward to hearing from Mrs. Folk. She has not talked to us in a long time, unfortunately.
Yes. Yeah.
A lot to talk about this week.
There actually is quite a
Finally.
bit. Yeah.
And what's good is the NBA lockout is over, so we'll have things to talk about for months instead of having a time where there was nothing at all happening except hockey.
Yeah. Which we don't talk about.
I don't talk about hockey now.
No.
But I guess one of the most interesting issues to just come out today is what the Miami Marlins have done now with their new moves. The Miami Marlins, as we know, used to be the Florida Marlins, so any of you that own Florida Marlins hats, keep them, and they will now be a retro baseball cap. You'll be able to wear it around the University of Scranton campus and show them off to your friends. Because nothing says baseball fan like a snapback hat.
Absolutely.
I'm contemplating buying a Miami Marlins snapback hat. Because yesterday I found out there's this website called snapbacks.com, and you can get any team snapback there for like $22. And then if you buy another one, it's free shipping.
Wow.
So for Christmas, perhaps this could be like a double gift for us. We'll just buy each other a snapback hat.
I was going to say, Christmas is coming. Let's do it.
Yeah, so for all of you out there that are looking, what am I going to get my bro? Not like your brother, but your friend who's a bro. Snapbacks. They're in. Forget North Face and Uggs. It's snapback season, my friends.
That's right.
And then wear a hoodie and put your hood up. That's what you do. You wear a hat and then put a hood over it so people can't see what logo it is.
That's right. That's how
That's
it goes.
more exciting if you have a hat. What is he wearing?
Oh,
and then
definitely.
You're like mysterious.
Yeah.
It's like those Airheads that came in the white pouch and you didn't know what flavor it was going to be. Anyway, Miami Marlins made the new move to Miami, obviously, and all of a sudden started coming out in the news about how they had all these talking to these players who were free agents, these impressive players like Jose Reyes, Albert Pujols, anyone that was a free agent. And my first question was, where are they getting all this money? And then I remembered that the Florida Marlins haven't spent money on their team ever. So they've obviously had a lot of money sitting around, but they have to get a new stadium, pay new people to work at their park, all that behind-the-scenes stuff that you have to do to have a program. So it begs the question, who is fronting the money for this? They get Ozzie Guillen to manage their ball club. Then they go out and sign Jose Reyes for 6 years and $131 million to play not third base, but shortstop, moving their star, Hanley Ramirez, to third, a la A-Rod, when he came to the Yankees. And apparently talks are coming out today on Twitter that Hanley is not too happy and is seeking a trade because he doesn't want to play third base.
Well, that worked out.
So perhaps one of the things the Marlins should have invested in was talking to their players before they made decisions.
I would say so, yeah. I wouldn't. I don't blame him for being on the team for as long as he has been, and then all of a sudden they bring in somebody and say, "Oh, you have to move over here." It's yeah. I wouldn't really stand for that.
I don't know why they just don't put Jose Reyes at second and put the
That's
second
true.
baseman at third. Because I don't even know who was the second baseman for the Miami
Yeah,
Marlins now.
I don't either.
Exactly. Move him to third. If he's angry, just get somebody else.
Yeah. Exactly.
So what do you think? Jose Reyes leaving the Mets. You know, leaving his Mets legacy, didn't really do too much with them. He was like their one shining player for a couple years, then
Right.
got injured and kind of fell off the totem pole. We best remember him for taking himself out of the lineup last year so he would break win the batting title.
Yep.
Class act. Do you think his career is going to stay as subpar as it is, or is this going to be a resurgence of Jose?
Well, I think it really it depends on a lot of things. Jose Reyes and the Mets, they had one really good year together with all their players, and you know he was a solid player, and he obviously still is because he just won the batting title. So, but I think you can't specifically build a team around Jose Reyes. I think you need that other piece, and I think that Jose Reyes will succeed if you have that other piece, and that other piece could be Albert Pujols. Now, so that's basically what I think would be best for Jose Reyes if he has that big presence, one of the best players in the league, Albert Pujols, to drive him in when he gets on base. I think that Jose Reyes' career will continue to thrive. Yeah, he has had injuries, but if he could stay away from injuries, his career at least will continue to thrive. But as a whole, I don't expect the Marlins to actually succeed based on acquiring Jose Reyes.
Yeah, unfortunately for Jose, I think the Mets tried to, as you're saying, build their team around him, and he's not one of those players that can happen with. Same thing kind of really happened with Hanley Ramirez on the Marlins. They tried to build a team around him, and he's not that person. He needs somebody else with them to help out. So if the Marlins, as you're saying, get Albert Pujols, who they offered a $10-year deal for God knows how many $1 million, that would sign him until he's 41 years old, and they would have him with Hanley Ramirez and Jose Reyes, perhaps one of the best infields in all of baseball if that happens.
Right.
And what they're really trying to push to get him to sign with them is we can offer you the opportunity to become the face of the Latin America baseball scene, especially Miami. You know, they're really international with everything. So they're basically throwing that out at him, like, you know, come down here, a new team, a new start, you'll be with these people, and you could be the face of baseball, Major League Baseball, and Latin American baseball. And that's probably the driving force that would get him to play with the Marlins. But at the same time, you're just coming off your second World Series with the Cardinals. The Cardinals aren't really losing anyone this offseason. Right. St. Louis has been great to Pujols. He can be a player that's going to be one of the best players of all time. Does he want to stay with one team throughout his whole career, break all the records with them, or is he in it for other reasons? Text him and find out.
Yeah, that's the thing that doesn't make sense to me. Why he would want to leave a team that, like you said, has won 2 World Series with him, been to another. They've always been in contention. They've only missed the playoffs a few times. I don't understand it. I mean, is it because of the manager? Would he have stayed if La Russa was there? Maybe. I mean, not that he's gone yet, but I don't know. I don't know if I see him coming back anymore. I'm kind of in denial as a Cardinals fan right now, but it just doesn't look good, because when the Cardinals offered him a 9-year, $198 million deal, and he turned it down at the beginning of the season, I don't know what else you want. Like, that would put him behind Ryan Howard, who's really high paid. I did not realize.
Oh, yeah.
I was looking at it. I'm like, wow, he makes $25 million a year. And he's going to be injured for half the season.
Yep.
And what was I going to say? There's Mark Teixeira, Adrian Gonzalez, and there's Albert Pujols. And I don't know. You know, Albert Pujols obviously thinks he's the best player in baseball, and he deserves to be paid the highest paid player in baseball. So, I mean, I get that. And whether we want to argue whether Albert Pujols is the best player in baseball right now, that doesn't matter. He thinks it. He thinks he deserves that money. So I don't understand, though. He just doesn't seem, at least before this, he didn't seem like the guy that was in it for the money. And it really is it seems that way. He's trying to protect his future. He seems to be very protective of his future. You know, offering 9 years, that would get him till he's 40. Like, I feel like that's reasonable, and then he's like, oh, I want 10. Like, it doesn't make sense. And now he's getting that with the Marlins. And I feel like the Marlins are really going to go after him, and they will not back down. And I feel like the Cardinals will back down before. And if it's just for the money, I could see Pujols going to the Marlins. I mean, I know the Cubs are in the hunt for him too, but if he's going to the Cubs, why not just come back to St. Louis? You know, it just that doesn't make sense to me either. So I don't know. Me personally, I'd stay in St. Louis, but you know, if he's in it for different reasons and wants to get a little more change, then St. Louis is not going to be the place for him anymore.
Yeah, that ends up being the problem with most professional athletes, and especially if you are a fan of the team, you automatically assume that the players on the team want to remain there for their entire careers. And there's only a handful of people that have actually wanted that to happen and remain on a team for their entire careers. Unfortunately for me, as a Yankees fan, most of the team wants to stay there for their entire career. It's very rare that people are like, okay, goodbye.
Right.
But, you know, Derek Jeter and Mariano Rivera have said, and they will be Yankees for life, and that's nice to see. And Pujols, it seemed, was going to be someone like that who would remain on the Cardinals for his entire career. But I can see his point where, you know, he's obviously the best player in baseball. He feels like he should be getting the most money. And unfortunately for the Cardinals, they don't have that much money to give. After they signed Matt Holliday to that 8-year deal.
Don't even bring. Thank you. There we are. Hey.
After signing them to that, they kind of, you know, dug themselves into a huge monetary hole for somebody that was just a good outfielder. You know, he's not in the top 10 of any category where you could be like, oh yeah, I could see it. Why? So money is a problem for St. Louis, and it's going to get to the point where they're just not going to have enough money to offer him. And should they put themselves in such a financial hardship to get Pujols, but then they can't get anyone else for years, and just hope nobody gets hurt and nothing happens? Or is it just time to say goodbye and let him go to the Marlins and give him what he wants? I hate long-distance contracts in any sport. I think contracts should peak out at about 6 years max. There's no reason why you should expect and want to sign someone for 10 years.
Right.
Because like you're saying, if you get injured, you're out for a season, gone, and you're still getting paid however much money. And you could, in a 10-year span, you could legitimately miss 4 seasons with injuries and come back and get hurt, and it's too much of a risk to wait that long. And plus, it's been statistically proven that players play better their last season of their contract because they want more money the next year. Well, you know, I'm not saying Pujols is going to do this, but he might fall into the Chris Johnson trap for the 3/4 of the season and be like, I already got my payday. I'll run 32 yards this game. I'm not even going to get any carries. I'm going to tell them no. Yeah. You know, once you get the money, it's over. And you just have to hope that the player will want to play for you. And to have someone play for you until 41, regardless of how, in shape Pujols is. He's had injuries with his elbow and his knee and this, that, and the other thing. You don't know how long he's going to last.
Right. Exactly. And like you're saying, losing a guy like Pujols would be so detrimental to the Cardinals. That's the only thing, at a certain point, I guess if it gets too much and they just don't have the finances, you do have to let go. But they really have to just try as hard as they can to get to his demands. This is a team coming off a World Series championship, but without Albert Pujols, the Cardinals are nowhere. That's the thing that kills me. I don't think they'll be dead if they lose Pujols, but I mean you'd have to make Matt Holliday the main hitter of that lineup. And that is just not a guy that you should be resting the hopes of your 1 through 9 lineup on. And Pujols is that guy. Matt Holliday is not that guy, and plus he gets injured, plus he's a horrible fielder, as we saw, and Alan Craig outplayed him in the World Series and the playoffs as a whole. It's losing that backbone of Albert Pujols obviously would just be huge. So the Cardinals really have to go all out for him to just keep what they have together for at least hopefully get another 5 solid years out of him, and then. But I don't see the Cardinals, like I said before, I don't see the Cardinals wanting to go that far, and I feel like the Marlins are more desperate to get Pujols there.
Just the way I feel about it, I think that he'll end up with the Miami Marlins in a couple days. I think they'll end up being the team that signs him, and then baseball will go into a chaotic downward spiral of, oh my. But you got to look at the Marlins. They have all these great hitters. Unfortunately, they've done nothing with their pitching staff at all yet.
Right.
They have one good pitcher, and that is literally it. So if they do get Pujols, they're going to be in financial trouble after that, unless they still have more money because they haven't done anything for years. And we'll have to see what happens with the Miami Marlins. But I think it'll be good for baseball, this kind of underdog team building up. Because it's even hard to remember that this was the Florida Marlins. It's kind of like viewing it as a new team for me, where you just think, oh, the Miami Marlins are a new team in baseball, and here they come. So it'll be good. I think it'll be good for baseball that they're doing this, and it's nice that it's not just the same teams getting the same players. It's an underdog type team getting them. So God only knows. Once that happens, I'll probably receive a sad-faced text from you. Pujols goes to the
Probably, yes. You might see me cry.
Yeah,
it's possible.
That's fine.
For the first time.
You'll just rip the posters off your wall. Like when Jordan left the Bulls and he retired, I threw out my Bulls stuff in the hallway.
I can see that. I have a Pujols poster. I will probably throw it in the hallway.
Well, that's what it deserved to be, because after he left, the Bulls have been awful since 2 years ago.
That's true.
So other things going on in baseball real quick. Bobby Valentine is the new Red Sox manager, and he will not be subjecting us to stupid and Sunday night baseball broadcasts. Finally! Who's going to take over for him? Terry Francona. He is intelligent. He says good stories. He's managed recently. He doesn't wear fake mustaches. I'm excited that Bobby Valentine is now the Red Sox manager. I think it was an awful move for them.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Couldn't be happier.
Me too, yeah. I agree. I didn't understand the move at all.
No.
I saw it came out, and it's funny that Curt Schilling also came out and said that the move was awful.
Former players ripped apart the Red Sox for the move. All of them.
Yep.
That's a shame.
Yeah. What are you going to do?
Also, the Red Sox, I don't know if we talked about this last week, but they're out their closer, Jonathan Papelbon, who signed with the Phillies.
That's right.
So the Red Sox are looking for a closer now. And someone who was so feared in the American League is gone.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Happy days.
Mm-hmm.
That was a player, too. I don't understand why you would leave where you're pitching to go to the Phillies.
Right.
You know, he could have been the Red Sox closer for however long, and it's not like they're that bad where it's, oh, we got to get out of here. But makes the Phillies a little bit better, especially pitching in the National League. It's easier.
You're not
Unfortunately
kidding.
for them, they still don't have any hitters. So
That's key.
see the Marlins about that. And I'm not fearing them at all, because if the Yankees or any other American League team face the Phillies in the World Series, they're used to Pavel Bum. They should be okay.
That's true.
I think that's it as far as baseball is concerned. That was the big move. Bobby Valentine is now the Red Sox manager, and no one cares.
It's true. It's true.
But he will not be in the studio anymore. Yes.
That's excellent. I think Tara Francona, they'll allow him to chew in the
During the
studio.
broadcast. That's going to be interesting. Because I know there's rules now with the new labor agreement that you can't be using chewing tobacco during like a televised interview or something else.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
So all of a sudden now this is bad image for the youth.
Then they should stop making that chewing tobacco bubble gum.
Yes. Big League Chew.
Big League Chew. Exactly.
What flavor you got? Grape. What do you have? No, this is the real thing.
Yeah.
You're 8, huh? Whatever. Anyway, we'll go to a quick PSA break and come back and talk some NBA and some BCS, because
Yes.
nothing says fun like the BCS. So if you want to text us any questions, comments, concerns, answers to questions, I don't care what, 570-212-9877, 570-212-WSR. Feel free to ask us anything, say hello. I don't care at all. We'll be right back. John Joe Sports Show, 99.5 WSR Scranton and the Royal Television Network. Stay tuned.
Go throw us in the trash.
She's not going to recycle? This is a job for Recycle Michael.
You don't have to be a hero to recycle.
Hey guys, this is my teenage friend Rachel. She's cool. Hey. Hey, could you watch the road?
Hey, could you watch the road?
All right, well, if we die in a car crash, I want to donate my eyes to my neighbor Gary. He has a boat, and he sails all around the world. I would love to see that. I don't know if he actually needs eyes, but who would turn on a free pair of eyes, right? Who's that rich?
What a beautiful day at the University of Scranton. But not everything is as beautiful as it seems. This is what a typical day is like for me. People pass by me all the time, but they also pass by something else. Why don't people care about where they throw their trash? Hey, wait, what's going on? Why would you pick me up and not the trash?
That hard to throw out your garbage?
No, it isn't. People on campus should be more like him.
When the road is calm.
Hi, I'm Tom, and welcome to Who Wants to Go Green? First question, where should you put your empty water bottle?
The ocean.
Wrong. In the recycling bin. Second question, should you turn the water off while brushing your teeth?
Yes, it saves water.
That is correct. You could save $40 per person per year by turning the water off. Thank you, and good night.
up the heavens that shone a holy light. Go tell it on the mountain.
I'm John.
I'm Joe.
We're back on the John and Joe Sports Show, 99.5 Radio Source on the Road Television Network.
It's quick.
I was an auctioneer for a couple of years there in college until I realized it would have got me nowhere. Okay, talked about baseball. Moving on to the NBA.
It's exciting.
As usual, Heat coverage is back on ESPN. So get excited, everyone. Get pumped. Woo! The Heat are 0-1 at their 8-ring championship run with the Big Three. But this year might be the year. Oh my.
This is great. I'm excited.
This year might be the
So
year
thirsty.
that they do it. However, trade rumors are coming out now. I think today was supposed to be the day that they
Here's your. They just floated in. Yeah.
today was supposed to be the day that the schedule came out, but it hasn't yet. So we don't know when we're going to see.
The Nets. Nets Lakers.
But
Yes.
trade talks are starting, and there was rumors about the Celtics would trade Rajon Rondo for CP3, and Thunder would trade Westbrook for CP3, and then CP3 said, "I want to play with the Knicks," and Dwight Howard was just doing impressions. And now there's new talks that the Lakers said that they're interested in both CP3, who's Chris Paul for all you people out there. They're like, who the hell's CP3? Is he a Star Wars character? And Dwight Howard, both of them, they're willing to trade anyone on the team except for Luke Walton. It's time for Kobe to go, and Luke Walton is who they will build the franchise around. And I'm not.
It's about time.
I know. It's about time he can get his chance. I heard they were going to get Adam Morrison back, and now we can finally have talent on the team. Kwame Brown, come back too.
And Smush Parker.
Smush.
We need him. We need him back.
And Benga for the boards. That's not true at all. It was Kobe Bryant, which you all probably guessed while I was saying the sentence.
Yes.
So what do you think about that, Joe? Do you think it's going to happen, and do you think it's worth it?
Well, hearing about it, seeing the story, I was just like, that's impossible. But, as I listened to Chris Broussard talk about it, and he's like, it's a legitimate possibility. It's a legitimate
There you
possibility, and it's just like, because he was talking about that the people that other teams would be able to offer to the Magic or the Hornets to get these two players would not be as good as the talent the Lakers could offer them.
That's true.
That's a big factor. But getting to your question, is it worth it? Now that's interesting. It depends on who they would lose. I imagine that to get these two guys, you would lose Bynum, definitely, Powell, and Odom.
Yes.
I think you lose all three. And who you trade where, I don't know. I assume you give the Magic a big guy, and I don't know about the Hornets, but how this could work is for the Lakers, if they build a team, they need more than Howard and Chris Paul in these trades. If they could get Chris Paul and Ariza back, that would be huge. And they really would need to pick up a solid power forward because they wouldn't have any, basically.
Yes.
So, but that core of Paul, Bryant, and Howard, wow. I can't even, words can't even describe that. I honestly believe that Paul, Bryant, and Howard would be a better trio than LeBron, Wade,
Oh, easy.
and Bosh.
Easy.
I know. People crazy, but think about it. Chris Paul is arguably the best point guard in the league. He probably is the best point guard in the league.
Probably is.
Thinking about it, I want to say that Chris Paul is the best point guard in the league. He can do it all.
Georgia Tech. No, Wake Forest.
Wake Forest, yep. Wake Forest. And Dwight Howard is the best center in the league.
Yes.
I mean,
He's probably only one of 3 centers. In the league.
Exactly.
So he doesn't have much company.
Exactly. So, I mean, you've got that.
Perkins just doesn't.
No, not at all. So you've got those two who are the best players at their positions. And then you have Kobe.
He's all right.
Like, you know, he has his moments, I guess. Like, but you can't. I guess you can't really say that Kobe is the best player at his position anymore at his age. Maybe, but it depends what you'd put like LeBron at.
Yeah, I'd say LeBron is number
LeBron
one,
would
but
be number
I
one.
would pick Kobe at the end of the game. So
Right,
in that
correct.
aspect,
Correct. Yes.
you know, he obviously can be the best now, but at the end of the game, there's no question who's getting the ball.
Exactly.
Luke Walton.
Right.
Put it up, Luke.
So I mean, that core is incredible, and that could, you know, that not only solves like immediate problems for the Lakers, but that's a future as well. Picking up these two younger guys.
See, the only, you know, when I first heard the story, it was this is too good to be true.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that you tweet about and go, oh, wouldn't it be nice? Like we said it last year when we said who the free agents were. Dwight Howard and CP3. Come over to LA.
Exactly. Yep.
And this could happen. And obviously, both the Hornets and Magic are going to ask for a lot in return because these two guys are their Kobe's of their team. And they're going to need other players, just like the Nuggets needed to get Carmelo to go to the Knicks. So the Knicks gave them their whole team.
Right. Correct.
All of them. Every player that played on the Knicks, including Patrick Ewing and Larry Walker, Larry Johnson, went to their team. But I think the way that this would go down is Stephen A. Smith and Tim Lager were talking about this, about how difficult it would be to have enough pieces to get both these players.
Right.
But they were saying, as you know, free agency's coming up, and if these two guys say they only are going to play in LA, there's really nothing they can do because they need to get the deal done, and they need to get it for something that may not be the best. So I think in a perfect world, the Magic would take Bynum for Howard and maybe somebody else who's not Lamar Odom or Paul Gasol.
Right.
Straight up type of deal. And, you know, in a way they're losing a lot, but they're not losing that much. And as far as the Hornets, if the Lakers can trade away Paul Gasol and Lamar Odom and get back Ariza and Chris Paul, they're set. And you know, they were talking about, would you make this deal? And yes, you know.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they were joking about it too. Like any team would make this deal. The Mavericks could have said, "We'll keep Dirk and give you anyone we want."
Yeah.
Fortunately for the Lakers, they have very good players to give away for a deal like this. The only player that hurts to see leave is Lamar Odom. I like Lamar Odom.
Yes, and he had a great season last year.
He was great off the bench. I think Paul Gasol is he plays weak down low. He's not aggressive. Dwight Howard will just elbow you in the face and get a rebound, and you won't go near him. So losing him, you know, that hurts a little bit more. Bynum, I couldn't care less about. If you're going to get Dwight Howard for Bynum, okay, your knees are awful. But I think they would be the best team in the NBA if they got those two players. And whoever else was, they're probably going to keep Derek Fisher. I don't think any team's going to want him.
Right.
You know, so they'll have Derek Fisher as their fourth guy, and whoever the fifth guy was, doesn't matter. Just like for the Heat, their fifth guy didn't matter. Eddie House. Who? Yeah. Doesn't matter who the other people are. They'll be the best team in the NBA. But I'm still pessimistic on seeing this happening just because what it is now is NBA players like to play with their friends, and you see all these guys pounding around, and Kobe is never there with them. He
true.
hasn't done any
Yeah.
of these like tournaments with LeBron and Durant and Melo and CP3 and Wade. He's not, and he's home, like living his life, shooting in his basement, getting better at home, putting his arthritic finger on a pillow so it can heal, because he didn't get surgery on it. You know, resting his knees, reading Shaq's book. So that's one of the red flags to that, and the other red flag would be they don't have enough. But even if they could get one of the two, it would still be nice. But if you're going to get the one, don't give away the 3 pieces from the team to just get one. Lord,
Right.
leave something.
Right. Exactly.
But you know, as everyone's saying, if you have the opportunity to do this, you obviously do. Dwight Howard is 25. Chris Paul is, I think, 24. Or, you know, he's around that age. He's not older than Dwight Howard is. So you're going to have them for at least 10 seasons. You've got Kobe for at least 3 more on contract, maybe 2 more after that. So you've got an opportunity to win for 5 seasons. The only red flag, again, as they were saying too, is Mike Brown the right coach to lead a team like this into the playoffs and make the right decisions for the team? How long is it going to take them to gel with each other? Like we saw the problems with the Heat last year when they first got together. There's a shortened season, blah, blah, blah. But if it happens, I'm buying NBA 2K12, downloading that roster, and just going off.
Absolutely. That'd be amazing. You know, as a Lakers fan, it's kind of weird to just be like, okay, see ya to these guys that helped bring you back-to-back championships.
Yeah.
So like that just kind of feels weird and not very loyal, I guess, to these players. You know, like it would really hurt to lose, like you said, Lamar Odom. I like Lamar. Like it's not only as like a player, but he's just like this laid back guy. He eats candy. He loves being in LA. Like and like just to say like, okay, see ya. After like I just like I'd feel bad about that. You know, I think Pau Gasol is another player that, I mean, he really came up big in those 2 championships years. He did not come up big this year, but I mean, he was a huge part, obviously, of the Lakers getting 2 championships. So, I mean, just throwing those guys to the side, I would feel bad, but I'd get over it.
Yeah, I'd get over it pretty quick, too.
I ended up getting over it. Getting Chris Paul. Now the one thing I think that Howard wants to come to LA. I'm not sure if Chris Paul wants to come.
Because he said,
to
I
LA.
want to go to the Knicks.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
I don't know if he wants to be there. I think that Howard is the place for. I mean, sorry, LA is the place for Howard, not Howard is the place for LA.
I agree.
He's just that kind of guy. He's similar to Shaq in a way.
I was
that
just
he's
going to
like
say, that's really funny that they're both kind of fit that persona.
Exactly.
Of goofy,
exactly.
big men, Magic, Lakers.
Yep. Exactly.
Heartbreak for the Magic because Shaq was good with the Lakers.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And I feel that, you know, I think that Howard will eventually be a Laker at some point. I just feel that it's right. It's a good fit. And, you know, with CP3, I don't know. It would be great. It'd be great. I just don't think he wants to be there. And that could factor into it. Now, say this deal goes down. The Lakers are going to have CP3, Dwight Howard, Kobe Bryant, some random power forward, and Meta World Peace.
Meta.
How is that going?
Oh, that's right. I forgot about him.
Like, how is that going to?
They could trade Ron Artest to
I
a
would
team.
love them to trade
But
Meta.
at the same time, like, who the hell would want Ron
Exactly.
Artest on their team? He's just
That's
a
an issue.
headache. And without Phil Jackson, God bless Mike Brown. I mean, he is a good defender, and they'll have that, which will be
Right.
nice. They'll
It
be the
will be.
best defensive team ever if they get all these players.
That's true.
My God, they're going to hold teams to 30 points. Lady Royals and women's basketball teams will be scoring more points than NBA programs against the Lakers.
But yeah, I mean
That's you're right, Ron Artest.
That's what I'm saying. That's going to be weird. So I mean, I mean, we'll see if it all plays out first, and then we could get into, of course, this is our last show.
Yeah.
So of the semester, so
It'll be
you'll
interesting.
hear about it.
It'll be interesting to see if Kobe now, once this happens, will start going to these guys and trying to like bring them in.
Right.
He might shoot Dwight a text. Dwight! CP3, this way.
Come on.
So Kobe might get involved, and he might have already behind the scenes. Like, they might come out and be like, well, Kobe called both of us and was like, yo, come on down. A la the Heat. When Dwayne Wade was like, yeah, LeBron and I are playing Xbox with our kids, and he was just like, yo, man, come play with us. So that's it for the NBA. Interesting talks. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yep.
And I can't wait to hear Chris Broussard talk about, basketball and the way things are going and see where the deals are coming from. God bless him and Stephen A. Smith for still having their, street.
Yeah.
In every interview they do. And they make it. Could you imagine if somebody came into an interview and was just like, whoa. You're going to tell me.
How you doing today? Fine. How are you?
I'm having a really good day. Excuse me? Anyway, over to the BCS, America's pastime. Everyone loves this time of the year when the Bulls come out. Joe and I are going to be going at it because both our teams are playing in the Sugar Bowl.
Yep, you got it.
I think whoever wins, we should have to buy the person some Domino sugar.
You know what? I think that's fair.
Just pour it all over your car, heat it, make caramel, and your car's ruined. No,
I don't think we should take it that far.
Nice now. We're not that bad people. But yeah, the BCS standings came out the other day, and it was going to be a question of who's going to make it to the championship game. Are they going to let LSU play Alabama again? Because we saw the greatest game ever played, and it was 9-6. Or are they going to let someone else have an opportunity? And the votes were in, and it was the former that won. LSU is going to play Alabama in the national championship game again, and I think the only school happy about this is Alabama. Oklahoma State comes in third, and Stanford was fourth, Oregon was fifth, and down the list it goes. And it's just another year of people dissatisfied with the BCS, dissatisfied with how coaches voted for certain teams, because that comes out publicly, and then coaches rip each other apart on ESPN, which is really hilarious. But, obviously, Boise State's not happy. And you know what I say, Boise State? Why don't you invest in recruiting someone that could kick the ball? 2 straight years where they could have been undefeated, and they blew it on a field goal.
Yep. Boise State should not be upset.
They shouldn't be talking.
They have
Not
to win.
this year.
They have to win it all.
When you get into the Big East or wherever you're moving to, then you'll get your chance.
Yeah.
But I hate the BCS. I've had for years once I started knowing about it, and I don't like the idea that the championship game already happened.
Right.
If you lose to, a lot of people make the argument that, Alabama's only loss came to the best team in the league. Okay, well, give someone else an opportunity to beat the best team in the league. You couldn't do it. Maybe somebody else can.
Right.
This is going to prove nothing of how good LSU is because they already beat Alabama. If they beat the third best team in the BCS, come at us. We can beat anybody. Right. They'd have more bragging rights than to go, yeah, we won again. I don't like it, and nothing I can do about it yet. I'm hoping that every year when these problems arise, that they'll fix it, and they don't.
Mm-hmm. Right, exactly. That's it. I mean, I'll say it again, and I've been saying it leading up to the moment people were like, they should face off in the end. LSU went into Alabama and won. They went into Alabama and won. I don't see how you can give a team a second chance. After that alone, then LSU goes undefeated for the entire season. They win the SEC championship. The SEC, which Alabama's in, which they didn't win.
Yeah.
They didn't even win their conference.
If you don't win your conference championship, How do you play in the championship game?
I don't get it. Like that's what you get for LSU. Like, I hope LSU just destroys them.
Yes.
Just destroys them, because the BCS has to be shown that it doesn't work. What we need is a playoff. Then Alabama should be in it, and that's all there is. I mean, that's all I'm going to say about the playoffs, because we know that's what it needs.
Yes.
And there's no argument about that.
But Joe, how can they have playoffs? They have class. They have midterms. They have finals. Joe, you're taking away from their learning. They're all student athletes first, all of them, especially at schools like these.
Yeah, I'm sure that sure the professors don't let them get by with certain things. And,
No,
yeah.
no, Joe, never.
That's, oh gosh, it's just.
It's frustrating
It
every
is.
year.
It's frustrating.
But there's nothing that can be done except watch the Sugar Bowl.
Absolutely, that's exciting. I'm excited.
All right, we'll go to a break. We'll come back. We'll talk some National Football League or NFL football if you really want to get technical. So if you want to text us, 570-212-9877. If not, we'll be right back. John and Joe's Sports Show on the Royal Television Network at 99.5. Well, sir. Stay tuned.
Hi, my name's Andy Davis, the president of the up-and-coming Scranton Football Club. Are you interested in showing your support or even playing for the team? If so, the Scranton Football Club is an excellent way of building confidence. Teamwork. Character. Mental toughness. Athleticism. Scranton Football!
For more information, contact.
Hey guys, this is my teenage friend Rachel. She's cool. Hey. Hey, could you watch the road?
Hey, could you watch the road?
Okay. All right, well, if we die in a car crash, I want to donate my eyes to my neighbor Gary. He has a boat, and he sails all around the world. I would love to see that. I don't know if he actually needs eyes, but who would turn on a free pair of eyes, right?
I'm gonna go throw us in the trash.
She's not going to recycle? This is a job for Recycle Michael.
You don't have to be a hero to recycle. I'm gonna go throw us in the trash.
I'm texting. Where is John? He's trying out his invisibility cloak. It's working. It's really working. No. No. We're back on the John and Joe Sports Show. I'm John! And I'm Joe. What's up? How is everybody? Wonderful? Excellent. Do you really want to come on?
I think it'd be fun.
Well, you are the only other person here. You want to.
Alright.
So,
Let's go. What's up?
what's up?
Hey. Okay. Where did we leave off?
We didn't. We were going to start in the NFL. Actually, yeah.
Well, how about that?
You don't
Packers win?
have a mic.
No.
No one could
Don't
hear
have
you.
a mic. Oh my god.
No one could hear you.
Where is it? Okay.
It should be somewhere.
So the Packers won.
Well, the Packers won, of course.
Right.
They beat your team.
I know.
Mhm. That was awesome.
What was the score?
It was 38-35, I believe.
Really?
Yeah, it was awesome.
What was it on kicks?
It was on a last-second field goal. The Packers beat your Giants.
That's so painful.
To remain undefeated. Oh, it wasn't very painful actually. It was
Not
pretty.
for you.
Oh yeah, it was pretty cool.
I didn't even watch it, so I kind of missed it.
Gotcha. I think that's why they lost. They figured that I am a more devoted fan than you.
Oh, of course.
That was it. And I got home. I was at Garrity's for half of it. I was working.
Oh, you were? Were you watching it?
But no, I couldn't. They don't have a
They
TV.
didn't have it in the back.
No, they don't have a TV at Garrity's. Yeah. So I ran home. Actually, I ran to my car and drove home.
Right.
Because running home would be stupid. Yeah. So I drove home, and the Packers were up 14-10, I believe, at the time, or something like that. And it was actually quite a game. It was quite a game. The Giants put forth quite an effort, but.
What do you think was the best quality? I don't know, just performance-wise.
Performance-wise.
Because they lost, but I don't think they've been doing that bad throughout the season.
Right.
So, I don't know, what would your constructive criticism be?
Well, they definitely succeeded on offense, putting up 35 points. That's pretty big, but that's typical of the Packers defense so far this season. They are 12-0, but they haven't really been putting together really a great defensive performance.
The dynamic is off?
There's something off about it. I mean, they did have an injury to one of their cornerbacks midway through the game. So yeah, that was an issue. But the Packers have been giving up a lot of points, and it usually hasn't mattered because they've scored more points than their opposing team because they have the best offense in the league. So the Giants were able to get to Aaron Rodgers. They actually picked him off for only the fourth or fifth time this year. So I mean, that was a good play by them. But in the end, the Packers they came through, and the Giants came back and they tied the game. It was 35-35. And then they went for two and they got it. But the Packers came down. They threw two long pass plays with less than a minute remaining, and they kicked the game-winning field goal.
What were some other big games that happened this week?
Well, let's see. I want to wait till John gets back for.
Okay, well then can we talk about something else that I would know about?
That you would know about? I don't know what you would know about.
I don't know either. Okay, wait. What about the NBA lockout? Is that still going on?
It is.
Okay.
I mean, it's over. It's done. John's back.
John's back. You're not on the radio? Alright. Well. There you are. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
You subjected again to the meat and joke.
Yes.
Yeah, something's wrong in the thing, so. Not on the radio. Just
Cool.
in the Naples rooms.
Good.
And the dorms.
And the dorms.
Anyway, we'll press on for our 4 listeners and viewers, I should say.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm still kind of
horrified. I see that. Anyway, week 13.
Week 13.
Another exciting week in football. Starting on the Thursday game, which just was a great way to really start off the weekend.
It was nice, actually.
When the Seahawks beat the Eagles 31-14. led by Marshawn Lynch, who was in beast mode once again.
Yes, he was. It was beautiful.
I want to see Marshawn Lynch on a good team. Like, he needs to
know.
get traded out
I
of
know.
Seattle to play on a contender just to see how well they can do with his running style.
Yeah.
148 yards, 2 touchdowns, and the Eagles had 4 turnovers. They were awful. And it was fun to watch.
It really was.
Fun to
It was
watch.
nice.
They're now 4-8, and the Seahawks are 5-7. They have a better record than the Eagles, as do most NFL teams.
That is true. That's just beautiful. So much determination, though. It was great.
Yeah.
I didn't think I'd be it. Marshawn Lynch does it again, and then he goes to the sideline and gets some Skittles.
He does.
Yeah.
That's apparently is what he uses to a la Lamar Odom. That's what gets him going. So moving down, we have the Titans beating the Bills 7-5. They moved 2, and the Bills dropped to 5-7, 23-17. Score. Chris Johnson ran for 153 yards, 2 touchdowns. Finally starting to play normal after 0 games of 100 yards rushing for the first 10 weeks. He's had three in the past 3 games. So I don't know if somebody came into his room and bumped the table that he has his stacks of money on, and it fell out of his line of vision and he forgot he had it, and now he's starting to play well again, or if someone robbed him and he needs more money. Whatever the reason may be, he's finally shown up, and the Bills, after starting out 5-0, have not won a football game since then. Woo! Matt Fitzpatrick, 4-year extension, no reason for it.
Yeah, this is a big win for the Titans. First of all, Chris Johnson coming alive, and they're making a playoff push with Chris Johnson running the ball the way he did, and they have a veteran quarterback in Matt Hasselbeck. This is a team that could make the playoffs, and I really thought they were going to catch the Texans, but as we'll see later on, that is not a foregone conclusion.
It's horrifying that these teams are still winning, because I just can't see them getting past the Patriots or the Giants or well, not the Giants. The Steelers or the Packers in the playoffs. I don't see it happening at all. There's no way. But hey, getting to the playoffs, at least you could say you had a successful season.
It's true.
Okay, Chiefs beat the Bears 10-3 in a rousing game of back and forth terribleness. Chiefs are now 5-7. Bears are now 7-5. Big story here was Caleb Haney is awful, and Matt Forte sprained his MCL, grade 2 sprain. He'll be out 2 to 6 weeks. Fortunate for the Bears that it wasn't a ACL tear, which is what you immediately think when people hold their knee. But unfortunately that he'll be out 2 to 6 weeks down the stretch of their playoff run. It's going to be interesting to see if they could sneak in as a wild card or not, and who they're going to pick up to save their season.
Is that it? Were you done?
Yes.
Oh. Anyway, as John Dillinger once said to his woman, "Bye-bye, Blackbird." That is what is happening to the Bears right now. I really hope that the three people who are watching this have seen Public Enemies, because I have no idea what I'm talking about. One person got the reference, I guarantee it.
That was one of the funniest things you've ever said. I was expecting some big quote. Bye-bye, Blackbird. Oh, God.
So anyway, if we can move along after that great quote. Anyway, the Bears are done. Their playoff hopes are over at this point. Without Jay Cutler, without Matt Forte, they're done. They put up 3 points against the Chiefs. I don't see it happening. I think they could have. They were coming along with Jay Cutler when they had him. They were playing really well, and now they just don't have the personnel to be a playoff team.
Yeah, not having Matt Forte definitely hurts, especially because these teams are winning with just their running backs, like we saw the Titans do. and we saw several teams do. The 4 that I mentioned was Brett Favre, because a source came out and said that if the Bears were to contact Brett Favre, he would, quote, listen. So that's something
That's
to
great.
go on right there.
That's great.
That's where the news is.
Yep.
I think Brett Favre is done. Personally, I honestly think he's done. But whoever came out and said it, whether it was like his wife or if he was the one that said the story, just be quiet. Leave him alone. Like poor Rachel Nichols having to fly to Mississippi again. She has family. I don't understand. But the other alternative is, of course, Donovan McNabb.
Yep.
And a lifelong Eagle fan told me that Donovan McNabb is terrible, and I said, he wasn't in green and silver, though, was he? But apparently he was, because they didn't win a Super Bowl.
That's true. That is true.
Held to pretty high standards in Philadelphia, considering they've never won one.
That's a good point.
Dolphins beat the Raiders 34-14, improved to 4-8, and the Raiders drop to 7-5. Reggie Bush starting to play like, I'm just kidding. He's still Reggie Bush, but he had 100 yards.
He did.
A touchdown.
Yep.
Dolphins are on a roll now. Roll out 4 straight wins. Here they come. Trying to get to that 500 mark. And unfortunately, they're not in any of the West divisions because they could have made the playoffs with an 8-8 record. But it'll just have to be next year we'll expect much more of the same. Shockingly enough, they're doing this with subpar quarterbacks. And the Raiders, who, played a little bit better after Al Davis died, have started to fall into problems, and we're seeing Carson Palmer's true colors of why he left the NFL Football League, because he's not that good.
Bye-bye, Blackbird. Anyway, the Dolphins really coming on here. What's the deal? I don't get it. It'd be nice if they could have done this from the beginning of the season.
You would think.
Yeah. Not wait till they lose 8 games or 7 or 8 games.
They were just getting warmed up.
Yeah. I don't understand, but it's a big loss for the Raiders. Fighting for a division against the Broncos, it's a terrible loss. It's a win that you should get against a Miami Dolphins team, and they didn't show up.
Speaking of the Broncos, they beat the Vikings 35-32, improved to 7-5, and now sit atop the division in the AFC West. Vikings drop to 2-10 and 1-5 on the year at home. Adrian Peterson didn't play, so that hurt them. And Tim Tebow's on the Broncos, so that hurt the Vikings. Willis McGahee, 111 yards, unsung hero for Broncos. Nobody talks about him because of Tim Tebow. But Tim Tebow, 10 for 15, 202 yards, 2 touchdowns, didn't run too much, only had 3 or 4 runs the whole game. Did it more with his arm, threw some really nice passes in the 4th quarter. Gets it done.
Gets it done. Yes, it definitely gets it done. At some point, I'm thinking about it. I just feel like at some point it's just all going to come crashing down.
Next year, it's when it's going to happen. They're going to be awful next year.
Right. I don't see it. Like I'm watching the highlights. I'm seeing the victories. But I still don't quite understand them. And the only explanation I can come up with is that no one gets Tim Tebow yet. Defenses don't get it. And he's put up 35 points in this game, but they're usually not putting up a ton of points. It's the defense that usually steps up, but this time, that wasn't so.
Yeah, this was frightening for their defense, considering the Vikings have Curtis Ponder as their quarterback.
Right.
Didn't have Adrian Peterson in. Percy Harvin went wild, 156 yards, 2 touchdowns. They had no answer for him. So it was a red flag for the defense, but a green flag, if you will, for Tim Tebow's arm and for scoring more than 20 points.
That's true.
So those are 2 other things you could check off the list of things he can't do.
Yep. He can. They can do it. They can make the playoffs. They are in first right now. virtue of they beat the Raiders this season.
In Oakland.
Yep. So they can definitely make the playoffs, but I just feel like at some point it's all going to come crashing down. I'm sorry to say.
Oh, I agree.
But they're playing great right now.
I don't know when it's going to come crashing down. Fortunately for Tebow, he hasn't really faced outstanding opponents.
True.
They are, I believe the Broncos are playing the Patriots in a couple weeks. So that'll really be a test of, here's a legitimate team.
Right.
And the Patriots are obviously going to want to beat them because they haven't lost in 6 weeks or whatever it's been. And I think Denver will make the playoffs. But again, how far are they going to go once they get into the AFC Championship game, if they even get there, and play the Ravens or the Steelers or teams that are just loads better than they are on paper? Like, how can they possibly beat a team like that? It's like, when you're in a tournament or something and you're the JV team and then you end up playing a varsity team. Like, you can only beat them on your best day and their worst day. So that's all Denver has to hope for, and I think that's what's happened with some of the people they've beaten, is that the teams have just been bad on that day. But
they're getting it, like you said, they're getting it done. They're doing a great job. They're putting together wins and a huge turnaround to the season.
It's unbelievable.
It really
as
is.
you were talking about when the fallout will come, I think it'll be next year. I think they're not going to win many games at all unless they get receivers.
That's true.
On the team that Tim Tebow can throw to, who will make him look better because they'll make these miraculous catches. They get people on defense. They need to build around him, whereas they kind of just threw him into, okay, there's nobody on the team, good luck. Yeah, their number one receiver is a man named Eric Decker. And if you can tell me where he went to college, I'll buy you a drink.
Alcorn State. You're not serious, are you? Did he really go to
No, I have no idea.
Okay.
I have no idea. I don't know where he went to college. I'm terrible at the college game. Like Chris Berman plays that with Tom Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
From? And I'll just be like, I know Chris Paul went to Wake Forest. That's all I got.
He did.
That's all I got for you. So, yeah, Broncos, great, wonderful. Tebow coverage, that's enough of that. Colts, Patriots. Patriots win 31-24. Peyton Manning, 9-3 are the Patriots, 0-12 are the Colts. Unfortunately for the Patriots, they were unable to beat the spread of 20. A lot of cheap, 21 points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Like, okay, just do what you want. On the bright side, Orlovsky did not step out of the end zone on any drive, but he still has not won a football game in which he's thrown a professional pass. Gronkowski, 3 touchdowns for the Patriots. Their tight end, Wes Welker, 110 yards receiving. Patriots had no problems with the Colts, and I didn't expect them to. So they continue forward, and the Colts continue to be horrible.
I mean, the Patriots got ahead, and they just put it in cruise control, basically. The Colts could not find Gronkowski. He's a tight end. He's pretty big. I don't know. Like I was just watching the highlights. He was just wide open. I don't understand what happened. Another thing that we forgot to mention last week about Orlovsky is that he couldn't find his helmet when he was with the Texans, so he had to take someone else's. And I forgot about that too.
I remember that.
So adding to the fact that he didn't step out of the back of the end zone, he also kept his helmet in reach.
He's doing well.
Put it on. I mean, these are signs of progression.
He's doing good.
Yes.
I forgot to mention as well, for the Chiefs, Kyle Orton was able to throw one pass for them until he dislocated his finger on his throwing hand, and he's out for an indefinite amount of games. So that sucks, Kyle. I'm sorry. Like I don't wish bad upon you. It's just unfortunate. First pass he throws, he gets leveled after he lets it go, and he's out of the game. So stepping forward in Kansas City. Not like they need him though, because they won anyway.
True.
Steelers Bengals. Steelers won 35-7, improved to 9-3, 5-1 at home, much like the Patriots. Bengals dropped to 7-5. Really, the Steelers just controlled this game offensively. Mendenhall had 2 touchdowns. Mike Wallace had 2 touchdowns. Fantasy team guys, happy to see that. And the Bengals just aren't that good.
No, they're not.
And they lost. That's usually how football goes. 28 points in the second quarter for the Steelers, and then they said, okay.
Right, the Bengals really aren't that good, and this game showed it. Looking at the Bengals team, there's no way that they should have. You wouldn't even think they'd have a winning record right now, but they do. But it shows when they play the big guns, they lose.
Yeah. A lot of these teams this year have been lucky enough to play subpar teams and inconsistent teams. There hasn't been more than 3 consistent teams in the NFL this year. So they've played teams when they've been awful one week, and they lucked out. And in the NFL, wins are like gold. Find them.
That's true.
Hold on to them. Polish them off. Get all the grit off them. Sell them for money. Okay. Panthers beat the Bucks 38-19. Both teams 4-8. But Cam Newton, 1 touchdown through the air, 3 on the ground. Superman. He didn't really have any problems this game. Fun fact, an unfortunate fact for me, up until he threw for 204 yards, all these touchdowns, didn't throw a pass to Steve Smith until 3 minutes were left in the fourth quarter. Killing me. He's on my team. Throw to him. He had 3 points. So that hurt, but it showed improvement that he didn't need to go to Steve Smith. But again, he was playing the Bucks.
True.
And even though the Bucks had on their retro jerseys, like they did when they didn't have a win a couple years back and got the win because they were wearing their orange jerseys, didn't happen this time.
That's right. Exactly. And with this win, Cam Newton getting the rushing touchdown, single season rushing touchdown
13,
record
I believe,
by a quarterback. Yep, 13 on the season, and there's 4 games left. So I mean, this is just a credit to how good he has been.
He is fun to watch. He's been
record-setting.
surprising.
Yep.
That he's been able to come into the league in his first year and be this good. I mean, obviously his record doesn't show it, but he's still playing well.
Right, and he's also going after Peyton Manning's rookie passing yards record. I believe I heard on primetime today. Don't quote me on that, but I think that he could get it. I'm not sure how close, they didn't say, but
I
just
think
like
Curtis
he could
Ponder broke Frank Tarkenton's rookie passing yards record with the Vikings.
Really? Wow.
I mean, Frank Tarkenton probably was an awful rookie.
Exactly, yeah.
But it's just funny when, like, people that are going to make the Hall of Fame's rookie records get broken by scrubs, and you're just like, oh, come on. But the Panthers have some decisions to make next year. They need to get Cam Newton players to
Some
throw
help.
the ball to, some
Yes.
help. So he doesn't just have Steve Smith.
Because during the game, they literally pitched it and threw it back to him.
Yeah.
That's how.
And he almost ran it in.
Yes.
19-yard reception to like the 2, and then he did run it in the
Right.
play. Jets Redskins. Jets win 34-19. Mark Sanchez, franchise, the man. Jets are now 7-5. Redskins are 4-8. Sexy Redsky, 19 for 46. Quite a subpar performance against that stifling Jets defense.
Definitely. The Jets really came out and they took care of business here. That's
Man,
exactly
are
what
they a
need to
good
do.
team.
They're awesome.
Wow.
They're fantastic. I don't know. Their record really doesn't reflect how good they really are.
No, I'll tell you what.
They're
They're
amazing.
If they don't get into the Super Bowl just by themselves, it's a disservice to the National Football League.
Absolutely, yes. So,
what helped them here was not Mark Sanchez. It was Sean Green had 3 touchdowns. He's on my fantasy team. I don't think he's had 3 touchdowns in the past 6 weeks. Only ran for 88 yards with 3 scores.
that's right.
Yeah, this game was close at like the half, and I don't know why, because it's the Redskins. But then they realized that it was the Redskins, and the Jets won. I'm still not sold on the Jets because they play awful one week and great the next week, and awful for 2 weeks, and great for 3. Pick one.
That's true. I agree.
Redskins aren't that good, so let's not get excited. Falcons, Texans. Texans win 17-10. Falcons now 7-5. Texans 9-3. Andre Johnson hurt again. This time his other hamstring.
Yeah.
T.J. Yates leading the Texans to the win over the Falcons, who are coming off two straight wins where they looked very good, and they couldn't beat the Texans, who literally are running out of players to start for them at prime positions, and they still couldn't beat them. I don't understand how this happened, and the Texans are 9-3 with no one.
Right, exactly. And much like in D2, when the coach went to Gunner and said, "You lost it for me," the Falcons lost it for themselves. So, anyway, I keep throwing myself off. I lose my train of thought because I'm going.
They're such good quotes. You have to come back down from that. Yeah.
So,
I hear you.
anyway, the Falcons just played awful this game. They were just bad plays. You know, they had a 4th and 1. They got a delay of game, moved it to 4th and 6. You know, at the end when they had a chance to tie it, Matt Ryan threw up a bomb, and Julio Jones had it and dropped it. You know, so like they had opportunities, and it really didn't go their way. There's really no excuse for this. You know, Texans, that's a great win. That's a great win right there. Having Andre Johnson helped, but unfortunately, he's injured again. So who knows how long he'll be out. They say it's not as severe as his other hamstring injury, but it's a hamstring injury. That's never a good thing. So
I just want to know who stretches him before the game.
yeah.
That this has happened again.
know,
Who is
I
your
know.
trainer? Fire them.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, don't expect to see the Texans move far in the playoffs, though. That it can't continue to happen. T.J. Yates.
Yeah, I don't.
Ooh,
see it.
yeah. Ravens beat the Browns 24-10, moved to 9-3. Browns 4-8. Ray Rice won against the Browns, basically 204
Yeah.
yards and a touchdown on the ground.
Wild.
He does that. Peyton Hillis, no touchdowns. He was their leading receiver with 52 yards on one catch for the Browns. Joe Flacco, another one of his touchdownless games. Good for the Ravens, though. Ray Lewis was out with a toe injury, which always makes me question players when they can't play because of their toe. But until you told me what it's like to have turf toe or whatever the hell it's called, and it's awful.
Yes.
I'm with you. Okay.
Yes, it really was bad. I forgot I had that actually, but it was awful. But yeah, I mean, it's just a good win for the Ravens. They actually beat a terrible team.
Yeah,
That
finally.
was incredible. Yes, way to go, Ravens.
Packers Giants. This actually turned out to be an exciting game.
It did. That it did.
Packers won 38-35, remain undefeated, and the Giants are now 6-6. Yeah,
There you go.
that's right. Okay. This was impressive because the game was tied at the end, and Aaron Rodgers actually had to lead his team down the field. He gets the ball back with 50 seconds left, which was 42 seconds too many, or whatever the joke was on ESPN. And 3 passes later, they're already in field goal range, and the Packers win. Aaron Rodgers, 4 touchdowns. Peyton Manning showed up with 3. Shocking.
Did they trade him to the Giants?
Perhaps.
Shocking.
But this was a side of the Packers you don't usually get to see because they usually blow teams out and they never have to do anything in the fourth quarter. But Aaron Rodgers showed that he was so nonchalant about at the end, he was like no look throws to Jordy Nelson 50 yards out. And Jordy Nelson was just like, You know, no. It's like they do it all the time in New York. They had no problems coming back. Another red flag, though, is their defense.
Yeah.
Because they don't have one. But they don't need one because the offense has been there. The only thing they have to worry about is if one game they're not and somebody drops 35 against them. Oh, Lord.
Exactly. That is the red flag. But it was just funny watching this game and seeing the Giants went all out and they really thought they had that one, and they were, someone sacked Aaron Rodgers and they did the belt, as everyone likes to do. Mm-hmm. Why did that kills me. Why do you sack Aaron Rodgers and do his move as if you're beating him because you tackled him once in the backfield? That's just that'd be so embarrassing. I just feel like it's embarrassing them just to do that.
Because they haven't lost in 17
exactly.
games.
And they end up losing this game. It's just
unless you score the game-winning touchdown in overtime,
right.
Then pull the belt out all you want.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, I agree with you.
That's fine. I don't get it. So I just laugh at it every time because they look like fools because everyone loses to them. So I mean, this is this is a good win for the Packers, obviously, keeping that undefeated season, showing that they could win when the game is close. Game's on the line in the end, 50-some seconds, and they get in field goal range and the game's over. It was easy. It was simple. And that's obviously a good thing to see, but like you said, red flag on the defense. That's not good. I'm not happy about that. Charles Woodson got injured in the game. I think he'll be okay. Yeah. But, I mean, that's a red flag. You want to see everything working, not just one thing working.
As for the Giants, too little, too late.
Yeah.
Cowboys lost to the Cardinals, 19-13 in overtime. Cowboys are now 7-5. Cardinals are 5-7. Interesting thing about this game was when the Cowboys decided that they were going to ice their own kicker. 4 seconds left.
So difficult.
What's his name? Garrett?
Yeah, Jason Garrett.
Jason Garrett. They're going for a 49. Well, first off, let's turn back the clocks a little bit. 19 seconds to go. The Cowboys are on the 40. They have 2 timeouts left, and instead of calling a timeout, trying to get closer, they do what every other NFL team thinks is a great idea and just settles for a long field goal. They don't call timeout, and they wait, and they end up spiking the ball with only enough time to kick the field goal. Yeah. What are you doing? You have 2 timeouts. Are you saving them for something? Are they worth money now? Are you getting incentives? A new stadium if you have enough timeouts? Why do you need these? Throw another play out and try and get closer, and then call another timeout. Why settle for a 49-yard field goal? So then they bring the field goal unit out, and they call timeout just as he's about to kick it. It goes through, of course. You're going to waste your timeout to ice your own kicker. He comes back out and misses the kick. Goes into overtime. Cardinals win the toss. Throw a 56-yard pass from Kevin Cobb, Hall of Famer. And they lose. And Jason Garrett should have been fired after regulation by the Cowboys. Jerry Jones should have just went down there and said, okay, that's it. Took the headset and ran the team after that.
Yes.
And the only one that was in pro of this, what happened, was Eric Mangini, whom we all know from his great success with the Cleveland Browns and other successful franchises, many Super Bowl rings. Just kidding. But he said he was pro it because the special teams coach, they said they weren't lined up right and blah, blah, crap, garbage. Call timeout, move forward. It's well, if they did that, before that they had a delay of game penalty against them or something, and they had to move back 5 yards, and there was a holding. You risk a penalty if you try and run another play. Please. Go back to the Browns.
This is typical Cowboys.
You know why? What hurt them is it's December, and they're awful in December.
That's what I mean, yeah.
Awful.
November is over. Yep. December has begun. So, luckily for them, the Giants lost, and they have a very difficult schedule ahead of them. So, that's the only team that's really battling them in that division, so they'll probably still make the playoffs. But I just, it's just funny to see this division as a whole that everyone always says coming into the year, best division in the league, and like the teams, like it seems like they always disappoint.
Yep.
That's it. I mean, the teams that make the playoffs, they get knocked out in the first round. It's funny to watch, especially this year. That the Cowboys are going to be back. They're going to win the Super Bowl. The Eagles, dream team, and the Giants, of course, are always there. And then you hit the season, and it's the same problems every year for the Cowboys and the Giants and the Eagles. It just makes me laugh.
There's not much more in life. Like it's bad to root against teams and players and fans, but the Eagles just make it so easy to hate them all, and the Phillies. Somebody said that in Sam's Club. They're like, oh, who do you like? The Yankees. Oh, you're not a homegrown Phillies fan? My son loves all Philadelphia teams. I said, absolutely not, ma'am. No offense to your son, but you couldn't pay me to like the Philadelphia franchises. Oh, well, my son. Yeah. How's your son like disappointment? Hating everyone just because they don't like your team.
Boom! That's it.
Get out of my line, ma'am. 49ers beat the Rams 26-0. They're 10-2. They've clinched their division, blah, blah, blah. The Rams are awful. And the 49ers still haven't beaten anybody worth a damn, and they still won't because they'll lose in the playoffs right away.
Probably.
I don't know why I had to rant so much about that. But
Yeah, is it a 49ers accident as a child?
yeah, the numbers.
Steve Young
I have a
trip you?
problem with the numbers. Frank Gore's historic day. He only ran for 73 yards and didn't get a touchdown. That's a terrible headline.
That is.
Whatever. Yeah. A.J. Feely's the quarterback.
It's not going to happen.
Jackson did his typical 19 yards. God. Chris Johnson. Taking a page out of his book. Yeah, this isn't surprising. The Niners record makes them seem a lot better than they are, and it's going to be really heartbreaking. Well, at least I think. I don't see them going anywhere past the second round of the playoffs. And I can't bear to think, because there are some 49ers fans on Facebook. These people exist. They're coming back out of the woodwork.
Yeah, they are actually.
And, talking trash about how great their team is. And I just say back to them, who have you beaten worth anything? Well, yeah. Who did you lose to? Oh, good teams.
Yeah.
I'm not sold on them yet.
Yeah. Actually, my mother got a Facebook just so she could start putting statuses up about 49ers. That's not true.
I didn't think so. Would have been funny. She should go to Twitter and just.
I didn't do that this week. I completely. I
Oh
didn't
yeah,
forget,
you were
but
supposed to next week.
I see. Like I need like a night game because like I'm at Garrity's, so I can't like keep up with everything.
It's a rough life.
It is, yeah. It's a hard knock life, slicing, your hand off. Anyway, for the Niners, they're very, as long as they keep up their pace here, they could be the second seed and probably will. I'm trying to think of who the teams behind them are. The Saints. But I think that the 49ers have a really good job. They're in the second seed. If they wrap that up, that's huge for them. At least they'll get a home game. They'll get a bye.
Yep.
And that does get them in the second round of the playoffs. And then at that point, you never know. But I just feel like you said, they haven't beaten
Alex Smith.
That's all you have to say, really.
Come on.
What else yet? Yeah.
Actually, though, something happened in this game. I don't remember the player's name, but he made a sack and had one of the best celebrations I've ever seen. YouTube it or go online and find it. He made the sack, got up, and just sprinted straight toward the sideline. Just got up and started running. He got to the sideline, didn't shake anyone's hand, didn't congratulate anyone, took his helmet off, put it on top of the bench, and just sat down like this. Hilarious. It lasted like 10 seconds. He got up, ran over, put his helmet down, and just sat. Completely stoic. Oh, it was so funny.
That's
you
awesome.
can't get fined for that.
That's true.
Because he just gets on, like, where is he going? Like,
Yeah.
his teammates are celebrating on the sidelines, they're like hitting him in the back and stuff. He didn't acknowledge anyone. Just sat down. It was beautiful.
That's fantastic.
Okay, Saints beat the Lions 31-17. Saints are 9-3. Lions are 7-5. Drew Brees just tore apart the Lions defense. And the Lions, Matthew Stafford 408 yards, but only 1 touchdown. The Lions have just turned into basically digging their own grave in these games with penalties, stupid decisions. They're just like the hard knock boys of the NFL now. And Sue is out another game, and you just can't really take them seriously anymore because they have a little bit of talent, but then they think they're a lot better than they actually are. They're not humble, and it's getting to the point where when they lose, you're just like, good for you.
Yeah, exactly. I'm with you. And as John Dillinger. No, never mind. Anyway, I don't think the Lions are dead, but I guess they're on life support, or they're hitting them with the electric clear. Exactly.
Sorry.
So, and you know what I say? Good for them.
Honestly, I love seeing them lose now.
Yeah.
I was rooting for them when they were 5-0, like, yeah, the Lions. And then the true colors came out that they're all. I can't come up with a word that's TV friendly.
Punks, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know if that really
Punks
fits,
works.
but punks kind of works. Yeah.
Hoodlums.
Get your point across.
Scum.
Yeah. And the Saints
Slackers.
came in and they slapped them in the face.
Yeah, Saints were at home. They had no chance.
Yep.
Well, another great Monday night game. Chargers beat the Jaguars 38-14. Phillip Rivers tried to pretend that he wasn't horrid for the past 7 games. And Blaine Gabbert tried to prove that he was horrid, and he succeeded. Reese Jones-Drew didn't get in the end zone on the ground, and if they didn't have him, it would have been a sad day. Jaguars are awful.
Right, that's exactly it. The Jaguars are awful, and it finally stopped the losing streak of the Chargers. Despite this win, this is just a horribly disappointing season for the Chargers, unless somehow the Broncos lose out and the Raiders lose out, then the Chargers get to the playoffs. I feel like the Chargers just always have enough talent and to at least make the playoffs, and they just squander it in some way.
So looking now at the playoffs as they stand now, Green Bay is obviously number 1. They've clinched the North. San Francisco's clinched the West. New Orleans is 3rd. They would win the South, and Dallas would win the NFC East. Chicago, Atlanta, and Detroit are all 7-5. And then the Giants are 6-6. So that's about it there. It could still go in many different ways. As we were saying for Chicago, I think they're too hurt to really contend.
Right.
So if I had to pick a team that would get in, I'd say Atlanta would, just because of the schedule the Giants have. They have to play Dallas twice, I believe.
Yeah.
And there's only 4 games left.
Yeah.
So that's going to hurt them. But if they can beat Dallas twice, that'll help them out a lot. But if I had to pick right now, the Giants just don't do it for me.
No.
That they played so great against the Packers, but they've played so horrible in other games. You're just like, show up.
Right.
So I don't see them doing anything. Philadelphia's 11th. Eagles 4-8. They would have to win out and hope the teams lost all of their games, and so they're done.
I think Atlanta makes it, And looking at the teams, I think Detroit can make it.
Yeah.
I think
What hurts them though is Sue is out.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. So I mean, I think it's Atlanta, and then it's a race between whoever shows up. I mean, looking at those teams, none of them seem like playoff teams, to be honest with you. But like I said, Atlanta. I would have said Chicago. I think Chicago would have easily wrapped up a wild card spot if they had Cutler and
Injury
Forte.
bug.
No, but
It gets you.
yeah, it's just not going to happen.
And as for the Eagles, to quote Joe in the Nina and Joe Sports Show. Okay, for the AFC, New England 9-3. They'd win the AFC East. Baltimore would get the North at 9-3. Houston would win the South at 9-3. Denver would win the West at 7-5, and then Pittsburgh is fifth at 9-3. Cincinnati, Tennessee, Oakland, the Jets are all 7-5. It's going to be really hard to see the collapse from New England, Baltimore, and Pittsburgh. Houston, it wouldn't surprise me in the South. And Denver would have to hold on. I still don't know if they can.
Right.
I'm not going to give it to them, but
Right.
we could pretend. But Baltimore and Pittsburgh are going to go at it in the AFC North. And I don't know if I could see the Titans catching the Texans because, again, the Titans aren't that good. It's all going to depend on if Chris Johnson shows up.
Yeah, I was actually really confident that the Titans would catch the Texans 2 weeks ago, but somehow the Titans put together 2 wins. I mean, the Texans put together 2 wins, and all of a sudden, Titans are 2 games down with 4 to go. So now I don't see it anymore. I was wrong. I think I'm going to change my mind.
Don't, because you said the Cardinals weren't going to make the playoffs, and then they won the World Series.
Good point. True.
Have faith.
I should have faith. Yep.
So go through the week's games coming up. Another Thursday night barn burner, the Browns Steelers. I think I'll go with the Steelers.
Woo! Yeah.
Because they just beat the Browns.
I'm going to go with the Steelers as well because the Browns are awful.
Yeah. Texans Bengals. Now an interesting game on our hands.
That's a tough one.
That is rough.
It's a tough one.
I think the Bengals are going to win just because the Texans are only going to have Arian Foster.
Right. I think I agree with you. I have to go with the Bengals here. You know, I would have said differently had Andre Johnson been healthy, honestly, because they were moving the ball with Andre Johnson. So I will go with the Bengals because of that reason.
All right, Vikings, Lions. Vikings are 2-10. Lions are 7-5. Lions will win this one because the Vikings are just that bad.
Yeah.
But I'd love to see them lose.
Yep, the Lions will definitely get this one.
Peterson's back, though, so he could single-handedly take them to the victory.
That would be nice.
Saints, Titans. I think the Saints will win, and unfortunately for the Titans, that'll be another loss.
Yeah.
And they can't afford many of those, so, but well.
Yeah, exactly. I think the Saints win this one, but I wouldn't be surprised to see the Titans win. The Saints kind of have a lapse every now and then. I honestly think the Saints could be the Packers right now. I mean, they did play the Packers, and the Packers beat them, but I feel that they could be on the level with the Packers, and I think they're the most feared team in the NFC to me besides the Packers.
I think the Saints would beat them at home.
Yeah.
But
They
at
can.
the same time, Aaron Rodgers wouldn't be in the cold air.
Correct.
So, and both defenses are bad for both teams. That would be an
Right.
interesting game. Who would throw more touchdowns?
Yeah, it would definitely be interesting. And plus, it's probably going to be Green Bay, so the Saints would be going into Green Bay. It's going to be cold. What are those? How are those offenses going to be in the cold? You know, who's going to have the advantage in that situation?
For cold is the only downside for the Packers is they don't run the ball, and the Saints have a decently successful running game with 17 running backs on their team that they can go to. So that would be interesting. Eagles, Dolphins. I'm going with the Dolphins. Why not?
I mean, yeah, I really think you have to go with the Dolphins at this point. Dolphins playing great, Eagles playing awful.
Yeah. Chiefs, Jets. Oh, boy. I'll go with the Jets at home, but I'm not confident in that because they don't show up sometimes.
Very true, very true. I'll go with the Jets as well. I think they get it done.
I think the Chiefs are just there to play spoiler now. But
Yeah.
we'll see if they care to or if they just want to go home. Patriots, Redskins. Patriots win. Sexy Rexy. Not too sexy anymore.
Yeah,
Gaining a lot of weight.
Yeah.
Ugly.
Patriots win. They have to. I think they're looking to secure that #1 seed.
Falcons, Panthers. I'm going to go with the upset. Cam Newton leading against the Falcons, who just play awful sometimes. Maybe this week they'll be awful and not good, because if they are, they'll win.
I'm gonna go with the Falcons here. Steve Fernando, he's not watching, but yeah, I think the Falcons. I mean, the Falcons are obviously a better overall team than the Panthers, but I wouldn't be shocked to see the Panthers win this one. I'll go with the Falcons.
Bucks, Jaguars. Woohoo! After seeing the Jaguars last night, I'm going to go with the Bucks.
A tie. Nothing.
There you go. 3-3. Ravens, Colts. We didn't even have to.
Yeah. Ravens.
Broncos, Bears. I would have picked the Bears 2 weeks ago, and now I have no problem picking the Broncos to win against not Jay Cutler and not Matt Forte.
Yeah, I think the Broncos are only going to need 3 points in this game. I think they'll do that. The Jets. No, we really did.
No, we'd tell you if we didn't.
Yeah, we'd tell you. Despite the hopes of our show. Oh yeah, all the time.
Of course.
Love doing that.
Unfortunate for Matt Forte too, because he didn't hold out this season, took a pay cut, isn't even making $1 million, and he ended up getting hurt. Just to show you running backs, hold out until you get your money if you're one of the best running backs in the league. Yeah. If he had a season-ending injury, he would have to leave the league, and he only made like $3 million in the NFL or some ridiculously low number, and he's probably the best running back in the National Football League. 49ers, Cardinals, 10-2, 5-7. 49ers win.
49ers win because they're playing
Cardinals
someone
still
bad
awful.
again. Yep.
Raiders, Packers. Go, Pack, go.
Yeah, I think the Packers win. The Raiders are just inconsistent.
Bills, Chargers. Both 5-7. Bills are 1-5 away. Chargers.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Chargers. In the words of Arnold Schwarzenegger, go, Chargers, go. That was an awful impression.
It was. Giants, Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are going to win.
Yeah.
And I really couldn't care less who wins this game.
Exactly. It's going to be who doesn't. Yeah, I'm going to go with the Cowboys. This is just too inconsistent. It's going to be interesting to see who steps up.
Our Monday night game, of course, we've been getting great ones all year long. We've got the 2-10 Rams at the 5-7 Seahawks. Got to go with the Seahawks here. They're putting together quite a season. Charlie Whitehurst, Marshawn Lynch. I hate Monday Night Football.
Me too.
Who scheduled these games?
I know.
Like literally awful, awful games. Yeah. There's been 2 maybes that have been okay.
Yeah. Let's schedule it next year. I say we schedule it. Mm-hmm.
That's it. Tomorrow, Coach Strong goes for his 757th win. I will be in the broadcast booth with Dean on WSR.
Awesome.
I could witness history. And if my record keeps it alive, I'm 1-0 as an announcer. So nobody circles the wagons. All right, that's it for us. It's been a great year. Thanks, guys in the studio. Thank you, Comcast. Thank you, production room. Thank you, audience. Thank you, WSR, even though we couldn't get a connection today and we're not on the radio at all, thank you. Loyal viewers, the 4 of you.
Yes, thank you.
We appreciate it.
I share his sentiment.
Back next year, same time, same place.
Same frequency.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I don't know why I took that from
No,
you.
I like it. I'm glad you did. Because I was going to pause a lot longer. Yeah, hopefully we'll be on Comcast next year, so you can watch it if you have Comcast. And we'll put together a better program than us just coming in here and blabbing about crap. Okay, Johnny Sports Show. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Have a good one.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.